Cars are incredibly important tools in Project Zomboid, but a craftsman who doesn't care for his tools becomes one themselves, and you don't want to be a tool, do you? That being said, let's talk about how to pimp your ride. With the mechanics skill, you'll be able to pop out and slap on those car parts you've been confused by, but only as long as you have the necessary instruments. And a car, but I figured that was self-explanatory. Now, why would you do that though? Well, first of all, to extend the shelf life of your vehicle, or turning it into an absolute nuisance for these people just enjoying their Sunday. Second of all, what else are you gonna do? Now, whether you plan to create the coolest grease monkey in Knox County or fumble your way into knowing a little bit about cars from your dorky books, Project Zomboid's got you covered in character creation. Pick the mechanic occupation or amateur mechanic trait and you'll be well on your way to becoming the best vehicular ripperdoc. Otherwise, you can pick your poison in the character creation stage and fumble your way through the apocalypse in general like everybody else. If you chose not to walk the way of the grease monkey, you're gonna want to pick up some salacious car magazines like Lane's Auto Manual. For standard, commercial, and performance models, meaning standard, heavy-duty, and sports car models, whatever. It's kind of important, but not really. Assuming you did choose the way of the grease monkey, you may need to be reminded you cannot fix a car with just your good looks, although you are looking very nice today. Are those new stains? They really make your eyes pop. What you can fix a car with is a screwdriver, wrench, jack, lug wrench, and tire pump. Side note, if you intend on repairing certain car parts, I'd suggest you pick up a propane torch, welder's mask, metal sheets, glue, screws, and duct tape, and let's face it, that duct tape is doing a lot of heavy lifting with your piss-poor repair jobs. Most of these items can be found in garages, sheds, auto repair shops, warehouses, maybe even in some zombies if you're lucky, but how do you use these tools? With the mechanics window. Duh. This is where the magic happens. And this is where I stand with the flashlight when my father-in-law does all the real work. But not you. You know what you're doing. You're not like me. Take your sacrificial vehicle and get into position. Open that bad boy up and... oh man, that's a lot of stuff. This is the Vehicle Mechanics menu. It displays information about the condition of your vehicle's components. We've got tires and suspension, engines and mufflers, that french fry you lost a couple months ago, gross. Each part is shown with a gradient from green to red to indicate their state. And a missing part will flash red, just so you don't miss it. Certain parts are going to take more damage than others, mostly being tires, suspension, and mufflers. You can also lose your hood, and then the engine itself will start taking damage. This damage is caused just by using the vehicle. I've always appreciated Project Zomboid's commitment to realism. They've even got cars being a depreciating asset. The more you drive this thing around, the more likely it is to break down on the highway. Been there. Or in the woods. Don't go there. Okay, so you went there and now you're paying for it. It's gonna cost you upwards of $1 for the mechanics to repair it, and darn it, that's highway robbery. So here's how to fix it yourself. Watch a couple YouTube videos, take extensive notes, map out your car's engine, and right-click on a part. As long as you meet the requirements, you uninstall it. That's it, good job. Uninstalling and reinstalling parts will grant you experience, but only once per day per component, so it's ideal to get a lot of sacrificial vehicles. However, even if you fail a pop-out or slap-on maneuver, you'll be granted XP, and it won't count towards your daily check. Ideally, you fail a lot in this stage, because failure means learning. You will slowly break the parts, that's to be expected, but you'll quickly gain XP and level up in no time. As you expand your knowledge and raise your skill level, you'll be less likely to end up with a car that's closer to Frankenstein than a Ferrari. Less likely to have a chariot that's more botched job than Bugatti. I'm not gonna apologize, those are funny. Leveling up the skill is a long and arduous process. If you want to hurry it up, you should really think about picking up reading skill books as a hobby. Now, to repair or replace damaged vehicle parts, the player must have the corresponding part in their inventory or an accessible container. Unlike other professions, installing or uninstalling parts does not require a specific mechanic skill, but the player must learn the recipe by reading the recipe magazine corresponding to the vehicle or choosing the relevant profession/trait. A higher mechanic skill increases the chance of installing or uninstalling parts without damaging them. And each vehicle has a recommended mechanics skill level displayed in its info panel. Parts designed for one vehicle type cannot be used on other types of vehicles, like obviously Scoob. To incentivize you even further, once you hit levels 4, 5, and 6 respectively, you can start scavenging spare engine parts for standard, You can start scavenging spare engine parts from standard, heavy-duty, and sports vehicles. Disrespectfully, this conversion happens at roughly 0 to 2 parts per 10% condition of the engine. Whatever. For now, there is one thing you should keep in mind. The donor engine has to be at or above 10% condition, or you're gonna be... And remember, the more you fail at removing or unremoving parts, the more you'll learn. So go ahead, Make mistakes. Strip those screws. Break things. Get those hands dirty and make sure you wipe off all that grease on your jeans at least 20 times without consciously thinking about it. Your significant other will thank you, and definitely not be upset about this. But wait, there's more yet. With the metalworking skill, you can turn your scrap metal into something beautiful. Art, even. Need to repair a busted part? No problem. Want to disassemble a car's engine for spare engine parts? Piece of cake. You want to let that old Chevy sit in your yard for a couple decades and fix her up later? Yeah, you can. I hate you, but yeah, you can. You're gonna need these salvaged engine parts and the metalworking tools I mentioned previously to restore that 87 diesel guzzler you've been holding on to and assuring your wife that it's part of the family. If she doesn't agree, I don't care what she tells you to help you sleep at night. Assuming you've got a car you want to be, your Bessie or whatever you name your cars, you will need to repair the engine to tip-top shape, and there is no removing engines in the base game, so keep that in mind if you're not a high enough level to collect engine parts yet. Everything else can be replaced, and as far as repairs go, you're looking at the trunk lid, hood of the vehicle, and that's it. It's really big stuff here. These all require metalworking materials, by the way. Got a video on that. Now, you may have noticed parts of these funny things called adjectives. If you're not sure what that is, Google it. Basically, each part has 3 subtypes, and I would get into that, but we need to keep a little mystery between us, and you need to use that noggin of yours eventually. Definitely not, because I've been working on this since March and have had several canon events in between then and now. See ya!